How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kufayin Gimel. Daf 173 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends. I don't know, we're going to do like another Mishnah or something? 2 Mishnahs? Why not? Okay, we've done already a whole bunch of Kufayin Gimel Mud Aleph, so we're only going to start about 2, 4, 6, 7 or so lines into the wide lines. So really pretty far into the daf. Nimtza le'echad ben shtaros of shtarosha Yosef ben Shimon parua shtar shneim pruin v'chule. So we are talking about Yosef ben Shimon and Yosef ben Shimon. So the Mishnah had this line which we're about to explain, but the line states that if somebody, we're going to start off assuming that this is the lender, finds among his documents. So you have a lender. Let's call him. Usually we call it Shimon, the lender. Usually we use Shimon as our example for a lender. All right, so maybe we'll stick with it. So if Shimon is the loaner, and he has 2 documents, one saying that Yosef ben Shimon owes him $1,000. The other one saying that Yosef ben Shimon owes him $1,000, and he has a third document that says that the person with that name, either Yosef ben Shimon or Yosef ben Shimon, whatever it is, has already paid back their debt. The question is, does that mean that Yosef ben Shimon has paid back his debt, or that Yosef ben Shimon has paid back his debt? So we say, well, since we don't know, we have to assume that that both debts have already been paid. Meaning we have to assume that each one was the one that was already paid, because this document that says that it's already been paid is non-specific if it's Yosef ben Shimon or Yosef ben Shimon. So time of the nimtza. Okay, so the Gemara says, well, okay, so we're saying in our Mishnah that if Shimon finds a document that says that that Yosef ben Shimon, or maybe Yosef ben Shimon's debt has been repaid. So in that case, Shimon cannot collect his debt from either one, neither from Yosef ben Shimon nor from Yosef ben Shimon, because since all we know is that somebody with that name has already repaid their debt, we don't know which one, so he can't collect from either one. Implying, however, that if he did not find such a document to say that the debt has been repaid, if all there was a document saying that Yosef ben Shimon owes him $1,000, another one saying that Yosef ben Shimon owes him $1,000, so he would be able to collect from them. What about the fact that our Mishnah had said that you can't? Right? If you try to collect from Yosef ben Shimon, he'll say it's Yosef ben Shimon who owes you money. If you try to collect from Yosef ben Shimon, he'll say that it's Yosef ben Shimon who owes you money. So time the nimtza. So the Gemara asks, okay, so we're saying that he can't collect from either one of them because there's this third document that says that the loan has been repaid and we don't know whose loan has been repaid. Halo nimtza, implying that if no such third document existed that says that the debt has been repaid, or that a debt has been repaid, motzi mapik. Well, in that case, he would be able to claim the $1,000 from each one of them. But in our Mishnah we had said that nobody can try to collect a debt from a document against, from them, because they could say that it's the other one who owes the money, right? If he tries to collect from Yosef ben Shimon, he'll say, hey, no, it's Yosef ben Shimon. If he tries to collect from Yosef ben Shimon, he'll say, no, it's Yosef ben Shimon who owes you the money. And yet we're saying over here that it's only because he found the third document that says that one of the loans has been repaid, that's why he cannot collect them, implying that if there wasn't that third document, he would be able to collect them. But our Mishnah says he can't collect them. Amar Rav Yirmiyah says Rav Yirmiyah mishulashin. Well, it's talking about where the two loan documents, the one that, right, each document that says that Shimon, the loaner, is owed $1,000, so those also had Yosef ben Shimon's father. So there was, one of them said that Yosef ben Shimon ben Naphtali owes him $1,000. The other one says that Yosef ben Shimon ben Dan owes him $1,000. So they were, one's the son of Naphtali, the other one's the son of Dan, i.e. they're two separate people. So he knows who owes him $1,000. That's why if there was not this third document, he would have been able to collect them. But since there is the third document, he cannot collect them. But why don't we just have a look at the receipt, at the document that says that the loan has been repaid, and see whose name is on the document? Is it Yosef ben Shimon ben Naphtali, or is it Yosef ben Shimon ben Dan? Rav Oshai says, well, it's talking about a scenario where the loan documents, the documents that say that Shimon is owed the money, those say the father's name. Those say Naphtali and Dan respectively. However, the receipt had only said Yosef ben Shimon, and we don't know if it's Yosef ben Shimon ben Dan, ben Naphtali, or is it Yosef ben Shimon ben Dan. So therefore, both of them, he can't collect from either one of them, because we have to assume that theirs was repaid. Okay. Omer Abaye says, Achi Kamer, that no, Nimtza lelove ben Shtarosa, Shtarosh Yosef ben Shimon, Olai Parua, Shtarosh name Purin. Abaye says, no, it's not talking about the loaner who has these documents. It is, in fact, the borrower. Meaning, Ruvain had borrowed money, he had borrowed $1,000 from Yosef ben Shimon, and another $1,000 from Yosef ben Shimon. Then Ruvain finds among his documents that, I have a receipt that I already paid Yosef ben Shimon. And we don't know which Yosef ben Shimon was already repaid, so therefore, neither of them can collect anymore, because you can argue that Reuben can already argue, look, I have a receipt that I already paid you back. Okay. Okay, so the Mishnah had said, no, so what do you do if there's two Yosef and Shimon? So we say, we'll mention the father's name, right? We've tried to find out different ways to differentiate them. Tana im ayush name kayanim yichtivu doiris. If both of them were Kohanim, so then go up another level, right? We said, okay, start by going up one level, so you have Yosef ben Shimon ben Naphtali and Yosef ben Shimon ben Dan. But if they both are the sons of Naphtali, so then we say we'll try to get some other indication. So maybe one's tall and one's short, but if they're both the same height, let's say, so we say, okay, maybe one's a Kohen, maybe one's not. What if they're both Kohanim? Okay, so maybe go up another level. So you have Yosef ben Shimon ben Naphtali ben Beryl, and Yosef ben Shimon then Dan ben Shachni. Azoy. Fine. Says the Mishnah. Ha'omer livno. Somebody, right, he's on his deathbed and he says to his yingul, Shtar ben shtaroisai parua. He's on his deathbed, he says to his yingul, look, you'll find that I have there are a lot of people that owe me money. I have a lot of loan documents. This guy owes me money, that guy owes me money. One of them is paid back, and I don't know which one it is, and I don't want this on my conscience. Right, so Omer livno shtar ben shtarosai parua ve'en yodea ezeu, and I don't know which one it is. Shtaros kulam pruin. Well, therefore we assume that all of them are the one that's already been repaid, and essentially the son will be unable to collect any of these documents. Nimtzo le'echad sham shnayim. Now, if one person had multiple documents there, right, so meaning if the father had loaned, let's say Shimon is dying, so if Shimon had loaned to all sorts of people, but he had loaned multiple times to Reuven, right? One time $1,000, one time was $5,000. Now we said that he says one of the loans among all of his loans has been paid back. We don't know which one it is, so therefore the son can't collect any of the loans. However, if Reuven had borrowed twice, so we assume that since we have to assume that one of them was paid back because we don't know which of his many loans were paid back, So we'll assume that the larger loan was paid back, but Reuven, obviously Reuven didn't repay both of his loans, because we were saying only one of the loans was repaid. So the larger amount we'll consider repaid, but the lower amount Reuven would still have to pay. Okay, fine. Now, says the Gemara, Amar Rav Shtar Licha Biyadi Parua Hagadol Parua V'Hakainena Parua Chov Licha Biyadi Parua Shtar Kulam Pruin. So if Shimon says to Reuven that Shtar Licha Biyadi Parua, so I guess Reuven, Shimon had lent Reuven multiple things. 1 second, yeah. Okay, fine. So Reuven had borrowed multiple times from Shimon, and Shimon says to Reuven, "Shtar l'cha biyadi pura," that one of the documents, one of the loan documents has already been repaid. So agadol pura. So we assume that the most expensive one is the one that's been repaid, but the other ones are outstanding. The smaller amount is not is outstanding. Chov l'cha biyadi parua. But if Shimon says that your debt to me has been repaid, well, in Shtar Kulam Pruin, then all outstanding documents are considered repaid. Ravina says to Rava, but if that's the case, Sadi Mechura Lach, if Shimon says to Reuven, my field is sold to you, so the Gedola Mechura Lo, would that imply that Shimon's biggest field is the one that's sold to Reuven? Sadi Sheishli Mechura Lach, and if he says, the field that I have is sold to you, Kol Sados Mechurin Lo, all of his fields are sold to Reuven. Ha'asam Yad Bal Ashtar Al Atachtona. We say no, not necessarily, right? The guiding principle here is Yad Bal Ashtar Al Atachtona. The person who has the document has the weaker position, and therefore, in this scenario, when Shimon sells a field to Reuven, Reuven's the one with the document saying that he owns one of Shimon's field. So in that case, Reuven owns the least expensive of the fields. Now, in the case, however, of where Shimon has all of these documents that say that he's owed money, right? So in that case, his negotiating, right? He's in the weaker position. So if he says one of the documents is repaid, so then it is the most expensive one has been repaid, and if he says the debt, then it's all of the debts. All right, fine. Says the Mishnah, Amaves Chavero al Yidei Ariv. Oh, okay, fine. So now we're getting it. Oh, okay. Now we're getting to some real stuff. All right. Okie dokie. Okay, Ariv. Givaldik. A guarantor. Hamaves Chavero al Yidei Ariv. So Shimon lends $1,000 to Reuven, okay, and Levi is going to be the guarantor. If Reuven defaults, Shimon can collect from Levi. Lo yifram an arev, Shimon cannot collect from Levi. I think I'm going to explain what does it mean he can't collect from Levi. Okay, and if Shimon says to Levi, Amanashe epra mimi shefa mimisha ertze. But if the condition is, look, I will get paid back from either one that I wish, we're going to have to explain this Mishnah and exactly when do you go to the Arev, when do you go to the Love, in what situations. There's going to be details here. But anyways, if Shimon says I'll be able to, under the condition that I could be repaid from whichever I prefer, well then, Yifram and Arev, then he can get paid back from Levi. Shimon Gamliel says, Shimon Gamliel im nechasim. If Reuven, the borrower, has property, well then well then Shimon should not be collecting from Levi if Reuven has property. Okay. And similarly, and additionally, Reb Shimon Gamliel would say, ha'ariv leisha b'chzubasa v'yabai le'megarsha yidirena anoya. You hear this? That if you have an ariv for a ksuba, right? So a fellow and a fellow are getting married. So now we need a guarantor for the ksuba, right? If they get divorced and he has no money, what's she going to do? How's she going to get paid? Well, there's a guarantor on the ksuba. If they get divorced and the husband has no money, so the guarantor will pay the value of the ksuba to the wife. So here's the thing. The husband and wife can pull shtick. Who could tell me what the shtick is that they could pull? The shtick is that they could pull is that they'll get divorced. He'll file for bankruptcy. He's got no money to pay her ksuba. So who's going to pay her ksuba? The third party. The loser over here. The third party. So the Ariv now has to pay her the ksuba. And then they'll simply get remarried. And they scored that money. Kilu, in general, if they get divorced and the husband pays the ksuba to his wife and then they get remarried, okay, so she brings the money back into the marriage. But like this, she's going to get paid from the third party, from the Ariv, from the guarantor. And then they'll just get remarried with the extra money. Perfect. They're no longer bankrupt. Good scheme. So to prevent that scheme, we say no. In the event that they get divorced and there's no money in the third party and the Ariv, the guarantor, is paying the ksuba, he needs to make a neder that she can't get any benefit from him, i.e. they will never be able to get remarried in order to prevent this kind of a scheme. So again, if you have a guarantor for a wife, for a ksuba, for a baila megarsha, and her husband, and they were getting divorced, and the husband has no money, and the guarantor is going to have to pay the ksuba to the wife, Yedirena Anoya, the husband needs to say that his wife cannot get any benefit from him ever again, Shemiyasu Kinunya Anuchasim Shalzeh V'yachzir Es Ishto, in order to avoid a scheme where they will get divorced, she'll collect the ksuba from the guarantor, and then they will get remarried, and she'll bring into the marriage the money that she received from the guarantor, and the guarantor will lose out. Will be taken advantage of. My time, how come we said in our Mishnah that that you cannot collect from the Ariv? Now, what did the Mishnah say? Hamavas chaver aydei Ariv lo yif min Ariv. That if Shimon lends money to Reuven and Levi is the guarantor, Shimon cannot get paid back from Levi, from the guarantor. Why not? My time, how come? Rav Yosef Dami Tarvai, because Rabbi and Rav Yosef say, Gavra Ashli Masli, Gavra Ashli Milach. I don't really know how to explain that literally, but basically what it means is that, well, because the guarantor is really only there for if Reuven dies, or Reuven flies the coop and we don't know where he is. So in that case where Reuven is gone, so we go to Levi and we say, okay, Levi, Shimon lent money to Reuven. Reuven's nowhere to be found. Levi, you're the guarantor. We're going to collect from you. But so long as Levi's around, so long as Reuven is around, so long as Reuven the borrower is around, they go to Reuven. Levi says, don't come to me. Right? You're coming to me to collect from Reuven. Here, there's Reuven. Go to Reuven. You deal with Reuven. So long as Reuven's around, don't come to me. Go to him. If Reuven's dead, if Reuven flies the coop, Seder, come to me. But if Reuven's here, you deal with him. Don't come to me. So again, my time. How come? Rabbi Yosef, because Rabbi Yosef say, I don't know, you paid me a person? I don't exactly know how to translate, but if it's like basically you're coming to me for Reuven, well, there's Reuven. Go take Reuven. Deal with Reuven. Don't deal with me. So long as Reuven is around, don't come to me. Maskif lo Rav Nachman asks a kasha. Haidina de parsai. This is the way that Persians do things. To say, don't come to me, go to Reuven. Adrab, what do you mean fakert? That's not how the Persians do things. This is how the Persians do things. Basar arva azle. The way that the Persians do things, as we're going to see, I think tomorrow, is that when there's a guarantor, they go straight to the guarantor. That bets him. If Shimon lends $1,000 to Reuven and Levi's the guarantor, Shimon goes straight to Levi. He doesn't even ask Reuven to pay him back. Shimon goes straight to Levi. So that's how the Persians do it. Not that Levi says go to Reuven. So Ella Bedina de Parsoi de Lo Yaivi Tamil Musayu. No. Rather, what Rav Nachman means, it's like a Persian halacha in that it doesn't make sense, right? Just like it doesn't make sense that Shimon should collect from Levi when he lent money to Ruvain, so also it doesn't make sense that that Shimon can't collect from Levi, just because Ruvain's around, but Reuven doesn't have anything. So Ella Rabbi, because according to what we were saying up until now, basically, even if Ruvain doesn't have anything to pay back Shimon, Levi could say, look, don't come to me. Come to me when Ruvain dies. Come to me when Ruvain runs away. If he's there, deal with Ruvain. He doesn't have any money? I don't know. Rav Nachman says that doesn't make sense. If he doesn't have money, that's the whole point of the guarantor. Go to Levi in that case. Rav Nachman rather says, Rav Nachman, Milo Yifra, Mina Ariv. What does it mean? Don't be paid back don't collect from the Ariv, from Levi. Lo Yitba Ariv. Tchila, don't first go to Levi. First, you go to Ruvain. If Reuven doesn't have it, then you can go to Levi. Tana Namayachi, we also learn a brayso like this. Amavas Chaveru Ayidei Ariv. If Shimon lends $1,000 to Reuven, and Levi is the guarantor, Lo Yitba Ariv Tchila. Don't first go to Levi. First go to Reuven. V'im Omar Amana. Okay, first go to Reuven. Fine. V'im Omar Amanas she'epra mimisha ertze Yitba Ariv Tchila. But if he says under the condition that I will be paid back from whichever I prefer, then you can go to the Ariv first. But I think we're going to really explain this piece about when to go to the bar and when to go to the Ariv tomorrow. My brain is like not working. I don't know why. Okay, fine. Rav Huna says, Rav Huna, Minayin la'Ariv de mishtabed. How do we know that in Ariv is Meshubad, and the Rashbam points out, even just verbally. Okay, that if Levi says, okay, I'll be the guarantor, he becomes the guarantor. The Pasuk says, this is Taka in Parshas Miketz, I believe. Coming up in a few weeks. So this is Taka Yehuda talking. Yehuda says to Yaakov Avinu about Binyamin, I will be the Ariv. He says, I will be the Ariv. Maskifla Rav Chizda HaKablonasi. Oh, Rav Chizda says, no, but this is Kablonus. Tichsiv's Pasuk says, Tina also al yodi, v'aniyash v'enu elecha. Give him to me and I'll return him to you. Wow. Okay. We're going to learn in tomorrow's daf. Wow. Okay, tomorrow really we're going to learn more about Arevus versus Kablonus. And Ariv versus the Kablan, but we're going to see in tomorrow that Kablan is a lashon of tain, give, right? So Tna also ayodi, give him to me. So that's a type of Kablanus. So therefore, that isn't Arevus, that's instead Kablanus. That's actually Ruvain talking there, but I guess it's in the same kind of context. El Amar Rabbi Yitzchak rather says Rabbi Yitzchak from here. Likach bigdo ki Ariv zar uva'ad nachriya chavleu. That take his garment ki Ariv zar, because he was a guarantor, and because of this person that he's a guarantor for, take stuff from him. The Pasuk says, Bini, my son, if you are a guarantor for your friend, we're going to explain what this means in a second. Stick out your hand for your friend, for this person. Okay. Whereas Rashbam says you were sort of disrespect to somebody, you spoke not nicely to somebody. Do the following and be saved. Because you've come in the palm of your friend. Go and I can't remember the word now, but chilloutify your friend, appease your friend. Okay, what it means is that if you are a guarantor for your friend, okay, so now what do? Pay his loan for him, kilu, if he needs you to. Ve'im lav, and if it's not talking about that, kilu, if it's talking about where you insulted your friend, harba olavreim, try to make it good, and maybe speak to your friends to try to make him forgive you and things like that. Okay. One second, I should probably switch right now. Omer Ameimer says Ameimer Ariv de Mishtabed. The concept of an Ariv Bichlal being Mishubid, Machloikis of Yehuda Reb Yossi, has to do with the machlokes of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi about asmachta kanya. The Rabbi Yossi about asmachta kanya oiv mishtabed. The Rabbi Yehuda about asmachta lo kanya oiv lo mishtabed. You hear this? Givaldi. The Gemara is explaining this concept of oiv through the lens of asmachta kanya or asmachta lo kanya. Because all concept of an orev bichlal is an asmachta. We're going to talk about this more tomorrow, but we're going to talk about it now as well. Now, how does an orev work? How does an orev work? I want to take out a loan. And the bank says you need a guarantor. So I go to my friend, I say, look, I need to take out a loan. I'm going to pay back the loan. I need you to sign. Can you be my guarantor just so that they'll give me the loan? Don't worry, you're not gonna have to pay. I have a job. Don't worry. I just need you to be the guarantor. You go to your good friend. He could trust you, whatever. He says, look, I need a loan. Can you please just be my guarantor? And he says, yeah, fine, no problem, whatever. Now, the understanding is that I'm going to, that my friend is not actually going to have to pay back my loan for me, right? The idea is, I'll be able to handle my own payments, and hopefully the bank is never going to come to him and ask him to do anything, right? So therefore, so what happens if I do default on the loan and the bank comes after him? Holy shnikes. He did not actually expect that was going to happen. It's an asmachta. He only said, yeah, sure, in order to help me out, but he never in a million years thought that the bank was actually going to come after him. So it's the machlokes between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda about asmachta kanya, asmachta lo kanya. Rabbi Yossi says asmachta kanya, that even when, you kind of make something, make a commitment, but under the impression that it was never actually going to be shaykh, it's still konen. And therefore, my friend, who's the guarantor, is on the line. Whereas according to Rabbi Yehuda, asmachta lo kanya. No, the whole thing, he only said I'll be the guarantor because he never thought that I was actually going to default on the loan. And now all of a sudden they're coming after him. It wasn't a real kinyan. Asmachta lo kanya. So Nochamo. Amar Meimer says, a Meimer, Orev the Mishtabed, this whole concept of an Orev being Mishubed, is a machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. The Rabbi Yossi damar asmachta kanya, Orev Mishtabed. According to Rabbi Yossi, says that asmachta is kanya. So then the Orev is in fact on the line. The Rabbi Yehuda damar asmachta loy kanya, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, it says asmachta loy kanya. Well then, Ariv lo mishtabed. Then the guarantor isn't actually on the line for anything, on the hook for anything, because it was an asmachta l'kanya. Amarle Rav Ashi la'ameimer. Rav Ashi asks Amemar, Hamaisim b'chol yom. But the fact of the matter is, says Rav Ashi, the asmachta l'kanya. On the one hand, we hold asmachta l'kanya, but at the same time, v'ariv mishtabed. At the same time, look, the halacha is that if somebody's a guarantor, it's not just a joke. I mean, it's serious. If my friend at the end of the day says, look, please don't default on the loan, but sure, I'll be your guarantor. Well, asmachta lekanya, but the fact of the matter is, we say that the friend is going to be on the hook. The guarantor is, in fact, on the hook. So Elam Rav Ashi, rather says Rav Ashi, Be'ahu anoyo dikamehemen le'gomer mishtabed nafshe. That, well, actually in this case, even though generally we say asmachta lekanya, there's another thing at play over here. Why am I going to this friend? And why is the bank trusting this friend? Well, because this friend is a reliable person. Maybe his financials are strong. Maybe he's just, just generally a dependable person that his word, you could trust his word. So from the hanoya, right, from the kavod that it is that I'm coming to this friend as opposed to anybody else, because this is a reliable person. So with that hanoah that he gets from being approached and from being trusted, he wholeheartedly accepts upon himself the responsibility, and that is why it is a valid kinyan, and he will be on the line for being an arid. Wow. Okay. Givaldik. Wow. My brain is like a shtickle kind of mushy right now, but we did all sorts of interesting stuff about like shtaros and stuff. I guess it is kind of like mushy kind of things, but yeah, all sorts of interesting shtaros stuff, and now we're getting into like guarantors and kablans and all sorts of interesting stuff. Peace out.